Hey y'all, it's your friendly neighborhood therapist. So listen, I said this before and I'm gonna say it anytime a situation arises that calls for it, but impact is greater than intent. No matter what your intentions when you say a thing about a situation or a person, the impact that it causes is far greater than whatever it is you intended. Even if you did not intend to harm, if harm was caused, you gotta eat that. And you have to be held accountable for that because there is no reason to harm people in the things that you say, right? But here's what. Sometimes your intent is absolutely to harm and to be trash. And it's okay. Stand on that. Listen, when I am saying something to somebody and I am intending to be nice nasty, and I know a lot of people don't like when people are nice nasty, but it is how I am sometimes and I accept it wholeheartedly. I am accountable to that. I don't try to mask that by saying, oh, I only was saying it because I care about the children. No, you don't. When you say harsh things, because there's a difference between truth and just being harsh. When you say harsh things about a mother or a father or anyone for that matter, that is what it is. You intended to be harsh. You intended to. See, this whole thing we have now where we read people, a read is intended to be harsh and cause possible harm. It's not intended to be nice. It's not intended to be kind. It's not intended to be constructive. No, it's intended to be what it is, which is a read. I read you down. That's what it's intended to be. So how do you expect anybody to hear anything out of that other than harm? So yeah, it's no need to front about that. Stand 10 toes down in it. All right. Now, also, let me just add too that it is quite funny and hypocritical even to see so many women who I know are pro-choice have an issue with the choices that a woman has made. You cannot get on Beyonce's internet screaming about staying out of women's uteruses only to put yourself in a woman's uterus. We tend to be pro choice only when someone makes the decision or the choice that we would have made. The second they make a choice that we feel is inappropriate or stupid, we got something to say. But it was their choice. And see, this is where there's a difference between how therapists see things and how we see things as our normal self, right? As a therapist, I can't judge. I would never judge my clients for making a decision that I myself do not think is wise for them to make. I have had clients make decisions, and in my mind, I'm like, Lord, have mercy, Jesus. But I would never make them feel that way because it is their life to live and their choice to make. It is my job to help them see things and become self aware and to hold them accountable. And please note that accountability is not the same as judgment. However, y'all love to say that you are saying something because it is a hard and harsh truth, and that's why people have a problem with it. That's not why people have a problem with it. The truth is something that people struggle with sometimes, yes, indeed, but also how you put the truth out there, how you frame a thing, how you say it, and your intent matters. It matters. And when you say something, no matter how truthful it is, when you then call somebody a stupid bitch, ain't nobody gonna hear what you gotta say because now we know your true intent, right? So let's not do that. Let's stand 10 toes down in who we are, how we act, what we say, and how we say it, and what we intended. And know that nobody will hear you if you frame it in a negative way, even if it's a hard truth. Because let's get something clear. You can be right in your words and wrong in your way, meaning you're saying words that might be right, but the way is altogether wrong and messed up. All right? Now, here's what. The only other thing I'll say about this scenario at this point, you should know exactly what I'm talking about, is there is no comparing somebody like Cardi B and the choice she has made to have a child with a man that she is now dealing with, that she has only been with for about a year or so. There is no similarity between her and Nick Cannon. The only similarity that you could draw from that is that they both now have broken homes. Okay, we all know about broken homes. Some of us came from one. Our parents either were not married or were married and then weren't, or were never together to begin with. But I know that we understand developmentally that it is ideal for children to grow up in a two-parent home where those parents are together, all the children are by the same two parents, and we feel like, yes, that is the healthiest version of a home. We also know that that is not typically what happens. It's just not. But that doesn't mean that kids cannot be healthy and co-parenting cannot happen. Healthy co-parenting. Now, does that always happen? No. But again, what you cannot do is compare two cases that are incomparable outside of one fact. They are incomparable. All right. And speaking of that, real quick, I wanted to say this about the Nick Cannon situation, and I'm going to say it, and that's going to be it. I am glad to see that he has become self aware and is holding himself accountable and has gotten therapy and understands what his issues are. He has stated that he was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. We've talked about this before. That is a difficult diagnosis to get. And one of the very reasons it is because most people with that diagnosis will never admit it and never get the help to find out. But he did. So kudos to him for that, right? Now that he said it, we can absolutely say it too because he has put it out there publicly. However, I want us to begin to think about how what we say publicly can affect our children, right? When you say that you made choices and decisions after the demise of your marriage that were born of your trauma, those children can hear that later and instantly internalize that as, I am a product of your trauma. That's not good. But I'm going to leave that where it is, okay? Again, certain things are not our business, even though celebrities might speak on them, make it public, blah, blah, blah. We can have opinions on it, and that's fine, but that's all we can really have. Back to the original point of this here post, impact and intent. Do not front about your intent. If you bout it like that and you are authentic, then stand on it. Don't try to cover up your words by saying it was about this or it's just a harsh truth. No, some of y'all are just harsh. hmm Okay. And some of y'all do not care who you harm with your words. You don't care. And it's not about telling the truth. It's not about speaking on subject matters that need to be spoken on, such as people making proper reproductive decisions. It's not about that at all. It's not. And at the end of the day, pro choice means pro choice to give away or pro choice to keep. Pro choice means pro choice to not dictate the choice of another because it's not a choice you would make. And I would venture to say that pro choice is choosing not to add more stress to someone who is already in a situation that is stressful if you truly care. All right. All right. Y'all have a beautiful, wonderful rest of the day, and I will holler at y'all later.